It was calm, until it wasn't. No alarms, no warnings, just a shift in the upper atmosphere. Barely a blip on Coruscant's weather grid, which should be impossible, because Coruscant has full planetary weather control. Storms don't happen. They're not allowed. And yet, a low pressure front formed over the Works district. The sky darkened. Rain fell. We're talking real rain, not atmospheric mist regulation. Then came the wind. Fast, not allowed. Chaotic, wrong. And yet, then something ancient. Something unseen in this galaxy for over 1,000 years. A cyclone. At first, the city watched in confusion. It quickly turned to terror, because the cyclone wasn't empty. It brought with it creatures. Not droids or Sith or clones. We're talking beasts with teeth, fins, eyes full of hunger. Creatures unknown to the Jedi, unnamed in the archives. But any being from Earth would know them instantly. Sharks. Thousands of them, flying, twisting, tearing through the sky. This is the story of the day Coruscant faced something even the Jedi couldn't predict. A Sharknado. Coruscant, the beating heart of the Republic. A city planet of endless sky lanes, endless bureaucracy, and, for the last 1,000 years, endless stability. It's a place where nothing unexpected ever happens, because it's designed that way. Every inch monitored, every cloud controlled, every raindrop scheduled. So when the weather changes, people notice. First, a drizzle. Then, clouds that don't match the forecast. The Holonat weather feeds begin buffering. At first, official reports call it a localized aquatic vapor interference. Unofficially, nobody knows what the hell is going on until someone looks up and sees the fins. In the Jedi Temple, the Council is in session. Yoda is mid-monologue about attachment, destiny, or breakfast, who knows. A knight bursts in. "There's a storm, sir. It's spinning." Mace Windu raises an eyebrow. Plo Koon tilts his head. Ki-Adi-Mundi says something about brain pressure or wives. Yoda stands. He walks to the temple balcony. "Fear not. Calm, this is not, but the Force. Balance shall bring." He closes his eyes, reaches his hand out, and a moment of silence happens. The air shimmers. The Force seems to listen. And then, a tiger shark slams into him at 300 kilometers per hour. One gulp. Yoda's gone. No scream, just a swirl of robes. The council freezes. Shakti's mouth is open. Kit Fisto wonders, did that just happen? Mace Windu stares out at the growing spiral of death and simply mutters, "God damn it." He turns to the remaining council members. "He's gone. I'm in charge. Someone give me a saber and a weather map." The sky darkens. Sharks scream through the air like torpedoes with teeth. And Coruscant? Coruscant is about to learn what happens when nature stops negotiating. Because this is just the beginning. Elsewhere on Coruscant, the Senate is in session, which means talking, posturing, and absolutely nobody listening. Amon Calamari is filibustering a motion on hoverpod tax credits. Mas Amedda is asleep with his eyes open. Palpatine is bored, pretending to care. Then the lights flicker. A holoscreen cuts to static, and a siren blares that hasn't been used since the last Sith War. Atmospheric disturbance detected. Species anomaly confirmed. Recommend shelter. Or prayer. Palpatine leans back in his chair. Fingers steepled. Expression blank. What the hell am I supposed to do with this? Mas Amedda fumbles a data pad. Sir, we believe it's a storm, a large one, containing creatures. Creatures? Outside, a hammerhead shark obliterates a Senate window. A senator from Corellia is sucked into the sky and devoured mid-scream. That's a complication. He watches another shark slam into a luxury transport, sending it spiraling into a hollow billboard for trade deregulation. Well, actually, this might help. Evacuations begin, but it's too late. Senators stampede for their ships. Dozens launch into the sky, straight into the storm. One cruiser explodes. Another gets sliced clean in half by a flying Mako. The Neimoidian delegation tries to bribe a shark midair. It does not accept payment. On the Senate floor, Jar Jar Binks yells, "Misa no like weather!" and jumps into a trash chute. Smartest thing he's ever done. Palpatine turns to his aide. "Get me a statement." What kind, sir?" "One that makes this Dooku's fault." And above them all, the Sharknado grows stronger. Ships fall, screams echo, and somewhere in the chaos, a blue Senate pod ignites, spinning, flaming, gone. Coruscant has lost control. And Palpatine? Palpatine sees opportunity. As the upper levels of Coruscant collapse into screaming, tooth-filled chaos, the Grand Army of the Republic deploys. Fast, efficient, bred for war. But not bred for this. LAAT gunships roar out of military hangars. Clone troopers line up, blasters at the ready. Commander Cody gives the order. "Engage the anomaly." They ascend into the sky. And immediately regret it. Within seconds, one ship is ripped in half by a flying thresher. Another is breached mid-flight, its crew devoured before the pilot can even scream. One trooper gets pulled into the vortex, only to reappear 30 seconds later riding a shark, yelling something about vengeance before disappearing again into the swirl. That clone is now legally MIA and spiritually a folk hero. Blasters prove useless. The sharks aren't force-sensitive, but they are angry, aerodynamic, and they seem immune to conventional military strategy. Clone tactics collapse. One squad tries grappling hooks. Another switches to flamethrowers. The flames ignite airborne fuel vapors. Now it's raining fire, and sharks, and burning sharks. Meanwhile, in orbit, a Venator-class Star Destroyer requests permission to open fire on the storm. Mace Windu replies personally, "No, that's stupid. Do not shoot weather." The Venator fires anyway. The laser barrage hits the storm's core. No real effect, just seems to make it angrier. 5 more sharks launch into the upper atmosphere and bring down a communications satellite. It lands on the Jedi archives. Jocasta Nu shushes it. Back on the surface, Commander Fox radios in. "Sir, we're being overwhelmed. The sharks are coordinated." Coordinated how? "They're moving in attack patterns, like starfighters. But meet." The clones regroup. They retreat to the base of the Jedi Temple. They dig in, set up barricades, deploy turbo cannons. But deep down, they know this isn't a battle. This is a feeding frenzy. And they're the buffet. While clones die by the squad, while senators burn in midair, while Palpatine drafts emergency legislation blaming weather on separatists, Kit Fisto smiles. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't hide, he doesn't even ask questions. He just steps out onto the temple balcony, looks up, sees a swirling sky of airborne watery death, and grins. Finally, something fun. The other Jedi try to stop him. Shakti reaches out, he shrugs her off. Plo Koon yells, "Don't be stupid!" Fisto winks. Then he drops his robe, reveals 6-pack abs, a backup saber, and no survival instinct. And then he jumps straight into the Sharknado. No plan, no backup, just raw aquatic confidence. For exactly 2 minutes, this man is unstoppable. He twirls, he slices, he force leaps between hammerheads and makos. Clone troopers below cheer. A Jedi Padawan faints. Someone somewhere starts chanting his name. For these 2 glorious minutes, there is hope. But then the storm seems to adapt. It tightens, it twists, it counters. The sharks start moving in formation. They encircle him. A great white slams into his side. A tiger shark grabs his leg. A third bites through his saber arm, and then limbs everywhere. Tentacles, chunks. The scream. I regret not wearing armor. He's gone. No body, no closure, just a trail of floating dreadlocks. The cheering stops, the storms roar louder, and Coruscant learns a brutal truth. Not even the happiest Jedi can smile through a Sharknado. As Kit Fisto's remains become one with the storm, the Jedi Temple seals its gates. Full lockdown. No exits, no landings, no mercy. It is no longer a place of peace. It is a bunker. Younglings scatter. Training rooms turn into panic rooms. One 10-year-old accidentally force throws himself through a wall and earns early knighthood. In the archives, Jocasta Nu rallies the defenders. She stands atop a reference terminal, lightsaber in one hand, thermal detonator in the other. I will be damned if the books I have protected for 50 years are destroyed by airborne seafood. A nearby knight raises an eyebrow. Like, you mean the younglings, right? We're protecting the younglings? There's a long pause. Sure, right. Those two, I guess. Mace Windu assembles the survivors in the central atrium. No robes, no politics, just sabers and grit. From now on, we're not peacekeepers. We're fish exterminators. Nobody laughs. Even the younglings understand. This is war. Across the temple, Jedi gather for battle meditation. They focus. They breathe. They reach into the Force, and the Force replies, I don't know, man. I didn't plan for this either. The temple guard, normally silent, stoic, and ceremonial, now shift into combat mode. Lines form. Positions are locked. Sabers hum. They chant. There is no chaos. There is heart. One is instantly devoured by a flying bull shark. Mid-chant, mid-form, just gone. The others hold firm, because they have no choice. The Jedi Temple, the most sacred place in the galaxy, is now a siege fortress surrounded by airborne predators and Force-forsaken weather, and no one is coming to help. The time for philosophy is over. No more prophecy, no more chosen ones, just teeth, wind, blood, and sabers. Mace Windu leads what's left of the Jedi Order onto the rooftops, robes shredded, eyes hard. One Padawan is dual-wielding and crying. Do not hesitate, do not negotiate. If it swims, kill it. The wind howls, the Sharknado roars, and the Jedi leap into it, synchronized, precise, terrified. Blades ignite against the clouds. Sharks dive from above, mouthed missiles wrapped in rage and physics violations. Plo Koon reaches out, channels the Force, summons lightning through his fingertips and arcs it into a thresher mid-dive. It works. Once. Then he tries it again. The lightning hits a flying whale shark. The charge rebounds. He cartwheels off the roof into a communications dish. Alive, but rethinking some life choices. Temple rooftops become battlegrounds. Torn robes whip in the wind. Sharks explode mid-air. The Force echoes with screams and shredded fish. Below, in the plazas of Coruscant, it begins to rain. Not water, not ash. Shark corpses. Bodies bisected by sabers. Chunks of airborne carnivore slamming into Senate buildings and vending stalls. A street vendor screams, Hey, who wanted the seafood? Nobody answers. And still the Jedi fight. Windu spins through the air, cuts 3 sharks in a single arc, lands and bellows, Next one tries me, I'm cutting the storm. They're not winning, but they are surviving. And for the first time since this began, the Sharknado hesitates. While the Jedi bleed on the rooftops, while clone troopers are turned into shark chum, while every news feed screams, unnatural weather event engulfing government district, Palpatine does what he always does. He lies on live TV. A holonet emergency broadcast cuts in mid-chaos. Palpatine appears, calm, centered, and with 0 shark bites. In this time of unprecedented aquatic aggression, I declare emergency powers. Again. The feed cuts to Masameda in the background nodding like he understands. He doesn't. Palpatine blames the Separatists. He calls the storm a bioclimactic terrorist weapon. He claims Count Dooku developed it using midichlorian fluid sonar manipulation. Within an hour, Dooku issues a public denial. I do not even know what a shark is. Please stop sending fish to my citadel. After hours of chaos, something strange happens. The wind dies. The sky brightens. The storm pauses. The Sharknado stabilizes, rotates, hovers, and waits. In the calm at its center, the Jedi regroup. Bloodied, exhausted, and standing on the smoldering rooftops of the Jedi Temple, surrounded by fish parts and the smell of permanent trauma. Mace Windu surveys the scene. His saber hums. His cloak is half shredded. There's a tooth in his shoulder. And still, he believes. We've got this. He turns to the remaining Jedi. We've hit it hard. Fast. We end it. He's cut off mid-sentence by a shadow. From the center of the vortex, something emerges. Not a shark, not a weather event, it's a goddamn megalodon, the size of a Republic gunship, covered in bite scars and lightning, with 3 lightsabers stuck in its face. It doesn't roar, doesn't snarl, it just opens its mouth and eats 4 Jedi in a single path. No resistance, no warning, just one clean pass, one clean force-defying gulp. Mace Windu stares into the sky, the eyes of the storm flickers, the megalodon circles back. Oh, for fuck's sake. The sky is spinning again. The storm has returned to full force, roaring louder than ever, and at its center, the megalodon circles, colossal, relentless, and somehow even angrier than before. The Jedi are nearly gone. Only a handful remain, wounded, exhausted, scattered across the temple's shattered upper levels. There are no reinforcements, no plans, no meditations. Just a storm, a monster, and one man who's had enough. Mace Windu stares up into the vortex, face unreadable, saber humming at his side. He doesn't speak at first, he just exhales. Then he says, "I'm done," and he leaps. With a force-powered burst that tears through the air, Windu launches himself toward the eye of the Sharknado. He rises through sheets of rain, dodges a spinning barracuda, and lands, hard, on the megalodon's back. The creature roars, thrashing midair, but Windu doesn't hesitate. He sprints down the length of its spine, his boots slamming against blood-slick hide as he ignites his saber and pulls back for the strike. And then, he swings. A single perfect arc, a line of purple energy through ancient bone. Like that, the megalodon dies. It doesn't explode, it doesn't disintegrate, it just stops and falls. The corpse crashes down onto the upper plaza of the Jedi Temple like a god dropped to the world's worst seafood platter from orbit. It hits hard, flattens 3 fountains, and skids to a stop against a Durasteel arch that was just rebuilt last week. Mace Windu drops with it. He lands in a crouch beside the steaming carcass, his cloak soaked in blood, shark guts sliding off the edge of his blade. He doesn't celebrate, he doesn't speak, he just breathes. And then, from somewhere above, far above, from within the vortex itself, a small object begins to fall. It spins once, catches the light, and cuts through the wind like a comet. Yoda's lightsaber. Falling from whatever sky pocket of death it had been trapped in since the first bite. Windu raises one hand, catches it midair, stares down at it. There's a moment of silence. Then, finally, he turns to the surviving Jedi. The Padawans, the Knights, the few who didn't get swallowed or flung into the mid-levels. And he just says, "Council's mine now." No one disagrees, because in that moment, looking at the broken storm, the mangled beast, and the 2 lightsabers burning in his hands, it's clear to everyone watching, the only thing more dangerous than a flying megalodon is Mace Windu with administrative authority. So, Coruscant survives. Barely. The skies are clear, the storm has passed, but the damage is beyond anything the Republic has seen outside of war. Government towers are cracked open like eggs. The Senate building still smells like grilled calamari, and the upper atmosphere is littered with debris, broken transports, and teeth. The Jedi Temple stands, technically, structurally questionable, spiritually also questionable. Half the order's gone, if not more. The archives are waterlogged. Most of the younglings are traumatized beyond what meditation can fix, and one temple guard refuses to speak unless he's addressed as the Fin Slayer. In the council chamber, there are more empty chairs than living masters. Windu sits down in Yoda's spot. No one challenges him. He still hasn't changed his clothes. The Senate is in shambles. Emergency powers are extended. Budget meetings postponed indefinitely due to ongoing carnivore trauma. Jar Jar Binks has declared religious enlightenment and moved to a cave. Palpatine has already launched his Shark Remembrance Initiative, a heavily monetized memorial program that includes statues, commemorative coins, and one very uncomfortable children's book titled When Sharks Fall from the Sky. And Anakin Skywalker stands at the edge of the temple landing pad, staring into the distance. He wipes a single tear. He was a good man. Good friend. He died doing what he loved. Getting absolutely obliterated by ocean wildlife. Obi-Wan walks past and doesn't even slow down. Don't even know his last name, Anakin. Shut up. Anakin says something about starting a petition to rename the temple Fisto Memorial Base, but no one listens. And somewhere in the middle of this smoldering mess, a reporter asks the question, is this the end? Mace Windu doesn't hesitate. He turns toward the wreckage, the fire, the dissolving council, and the lingering possibility of another meteorological nightmare, and he answers, "It better goddamn be." This has been Canon Chaos, where the weather tried to kill democracy, and the only thing standing in its way was one angry Jedi with zero tolerance for atmospheric bullshit. Until next time, may your forecasts be accurate, and your fish stay where they belong.